What is up, my Little Deinos? Vepsis, your coach of the Helsinki Hydreigons, and we are here for the Champions of Galar Tournament Season 2 regular season finale. We are here on the last week, being the week 9, when we go up against Badass Froslass and his team being the Indiana Tracers. We only got to go up against him once before in a draft league scene, that was in the UPPA, and thankfully back then we did manage to beat him, and hopefully this time around we can do that as well. We are clinched for playoffs. My opponent, on the other hand, unfortunately he's out of the contention for playoffs, so the battle doesn't necessarily mean much to him. But what is in stake for my own sake is that if I do win this game, I am currently #1 seed in the regular season, which would be pretty cool considering how the season started, and I didn't think like the first half of the season ending up in a #1 seed in the entire league by the end of the regular season would be something I can really realistically achieve. But here we are, and we have opportunity, and hopefully we can get it done. The team of 6 you can see above my face gun, and my opponent's 6 that I'm predicting you can see on the right side of the layout, and we're gonna be going the matchup right about now. So if you wanna skip this, you can use the YouTube feed in itself to see when the battle starts in the video in itself. But let's go through the team of 6 that I'm bringing that hopefully will give us our final regular season win that we need here at the week 9. And we're starting with a very typical phaser with our Landersterian, because of course one does bring a Landersterian when they drafted it. And we are bringing like a mixed defensive, more especially defensive for the Drag Assault, because I could see something like a mixed Life Orb set under Sand being very threatening to me, using Draco Meteor to bypass Landersterian if he thinks I'm physically defensive. So I can live 2 Life Orb plus special attack boosted Draco Meteors from Drag Assault, I believe, after Stealth Rock. So that's pretty nice. And then we are running Earthquake, Knockoff, U-Turn, and Gravity. Gravity I'm gonna be very restrictive when I use it for. It's only they're giving me a way to hit the Celesteela with a Earthquake afterwards, because then it won't be immune to me, to my Ground Stab, and I'm actually super effective then versus it because it has the Steel typing. But I will probably restrain myself how much I'm gonna be clicking it, because we potentially do see Diggersby from the opposing side. So I would rather not deal with a Diggersby under Gravity myself either. So it's gonna be something that I will hopefully try to keep in mind when I use it. Otherwise I see myself clicking the attacking moves, like Knockoff is a very good utility move as always to get rid of items, Shooter for the initiative, and Earthquake just for stab. He's only like realistic EQ switching is the Celesteela. If something like a Celebi or Whimsicott risking swap into me, like Whimsicott is not naturally super bulky, and Celebi always is risking like a Knockoff or more importantly U-Turn to be something that it has to take. So Landersterian offensively also has a good matchup that way, even if we run it defensively this week, which I thought that is necessary to do. And then the next member of our team is gonna be our dedicated lead actually this week, which is gonna be a Necrozma with 3 attacks and Stealth Rocks. We are holding the Power Up, and we are modest max special attack and max HP, a little bit of defensive IVs, just to lift 2 Earthquakes from Scarf Diggersby, I believe, or Body Slams. It was one of the 2, probably the EQs for this sake. And then I'm running just the 3 attacks, and I like the Power Up Meteor Beam in a way that then like something like Spiritu with Poltergeist cannot really take me on 1v1 as easily, because I'm burning out my item and he cannot use that against me. And getting just Stealth Rocks up early on, hopefully as soon as possible, and then deal massive damage to his team until this goes down is kind of like the whole purpose of this set. And I can go from there. I could have brought like a setup and winning condition Necrozma set, but there are things like a Whimsicott, there are things like Diggersby with Quirk Attack, there's a Spiritu with Shadow Sneak and Sucker Punch, so I feel like realistically he has enough tools to deter Necrozma getting out of hand setup wise. So I'm utilizing it early on as a breaker, getting up the Stealth Rocks for me, that will help other members of my team, wearing him down from there. And then the next member of team is gonna be our Talonflame with Gale Wings of course, and heavy duty boots. It's gonna be running Dual Stab and U-Turn and Roost, basically with Brave Bird and Flare Bits. It's here basically to be a failsafe for Volcarona that he also possesses on his team. If the Volcarona doesn't come, Brave Bird can still be relatively nice priority to have something like if Diggersby is a setup set, I can have a 1 big Brave Bird out of it. If Keldeo happens to be Choice Scarf and I don't have anything to deal with it anymore, I can revenge it that way. So there are other purposes that Prey-Bird Priority can come in handy. But I also have Roost for longevity, because this might end up being something that I use as a switching to Whimsicott, something that I use as a switching to like a Volcarona in itself if it comes in, and if it chooses to just go for straight attack, I can Roost afterwards to keep myself in a Gale Winds rage. So I figure Roost would be the best option to have as the last move on this set. And then we are running, I guess, a typical set normally in Generation 8 that I like to be joked around, which is a Restock set. But this is actually my second time, I believe, that I run Restock this season. So there's that, I suppose. But we are running Restock Primarina with Rocky Helmet, fully physically defensive. This is kind of like one of my only walls besides Landorusterian on this team. Like, Landorusterian is the dedicated special defensive mon, and this thing is the one taking physical hits. Otherwise, my team is gonna be quite offensive this game, because I thought that is the better way to go about this. But I have Restock so that if Keldeo proves to be like a soft toxic set or toxic set in general, knowing that Primarina is a very hard wall to it, I can get rid of that. And if the Diggersby is Scarf, it's nice to be able to get some Rocky Helmet chip with the Rocky Helmet chip when it's clicking U-turn, or Keldeo for that matter if it's clicking flip turn. Those two might be wanting to spam momentum a lot in early on, so it's nice to put them in a range of my other members of the team to be able to revenge kill them later on. And that combined with Stealth Rocks hopefully does help a little bit. Granted, Stealth Rocks are only gonna be affecting both of those mods by 6%, but thankfully the Rocky Helmet should be giving me more chip throughout the battle as I'm using it. And then we are running the same set as last week when it comes to attacking moves, or moves in general in our Hydreigon that end up getting 6 kills last week, which was pretty hype. And we are running Dark Pulse, Flamethrower, Nasty Pot as Roost as a reminder. That is the set that we run, and we are gonna be running it again because this week the only resistance to those two attacking moves would be Keldeo. And Keldeo I do have a very good response in Primarina in itself too. And then I'm having a Rosary Berry on this, because Rosary Berry enables me to take a niche Dashing Claim options that either Spiritomb or Lantern could carry for me. And it also enables me to live a modest Expert Belt Whimsicott Moonblast after Stealth Rocks, which is pretty good in that scenario. So if I have enough special attack going out with Flamethrower, I can take it out. Like if I'm at +2 and if he gets like a special attack drop with Moonblast, I believe at my +1 I still take it out, because I can also run modest this week with my Hydreigon. So that's gonna be that, kind of like a mid-game breaker after Necrozma has done the early gaming breaking, and hopefully those two mons can help to get rid of some of the obvious checks that my Choice Scarf Raikou does have on their end, because they have something like a Tracker Shot that resists my dual attacking moves like Scald and Thunderbolt very well. He has Diggersby as electric immunity, he has Lantern that shuts this thing down. So realistically, Raikou matchup offensively wise had a rough matchup, but I had to run it Choice Scarf in my opinion for this matchup, because the Celesteela is there. Like Celesteela, if it gets into +2 and if I'm not careful enough, it can literally just sweep me right from the get-go. So I have to bring something that outpaces it and revenges it. And I want to have also the Volt Switch as an option if I have any reason to try to pop a Wakam Berry first, or if I have to ensure that Raikou is not locked in afterwards for something else to be a problem to me, like Diggersby coming in afterwards, try to set up after I revenge kill Celesteela. So I wanted to have the Volt Switch in that particular case, and then I have Toxic just to be able to predict potentially a Lantern on the switching or something else that can take me out very well. I could have run like a sub-toxic Raikou in this matchup that would have beaten everything else very well, but I felt like I just needed to have Scarf for the Celesteela. It's kind of annoying in that sense, because I think the sub-toxic Raikou would have been so much better in this matchup. So much better. But I cannot afford to run that in order to not to lose to that one Pokemon that he has, and I do think he's gonna bring it. So that's gonna be the team, and now let's go and see how the battle is gonna be turning out. Alright, here we are with the battle with Badass Froslass. Let's see what 6 he ends up bringing and how many I do end up getting wrong on my guesses, cause I think this is a matchup that I could definitely see the second half change quite a bit. I feel like the first 3 are pretty given to come, like the Celesteela, Lantern, Diggersby. I don't think he's gonna change in those 3, but we'll see. Let's go and see how this is gonna go. And, oh, as I say, I didn't think Diggersby would be one that would be changed, but here we are and it is changed. So he does have the Lantern. Diggersby I guess I can change into Keldeo. Keldeo. There we go. I'm gonna also like lock in my leader. Well, not lock in, but be like one click away to be ready to go. Cause I know my lead is always gonna be the same. So we have Keldeo. We can adjust it there. Dragon Assault will be, I guess, Celebi. That he also brought. He also brought Dragalzi. So we change this. Dragalzi I could actually be their potential lead if he has T-Spikes on it. So Necrozma as a lead kind of works for that. And then I also have Volcarona to put there. I'll confirm my lead now, because I just need to now change the Volcarona for his side. But good luck and have fun to Badass Froslass. I know this is gonna be his final game of the season, because he's out of the playoff contention. But hopefully we can have a fun game here to end his season as a whole. And for me, it's a matter of do I get the first seed or not. If I win, I'm first seed. If I lose, then I'm either second or third, depending what happens with Montaigne's game, who is in the contention for the first seed, or Addison as well. They don't play each other at that point, but... So he leads with the Celebi. And for me, I think I want to get up to Stealth Rocks turn 1. So I'm gonna be clicking those. So he has Celestial, I'm gonna write them on my showdown as well. So he has Celestial, Lantern, Keldeo, Celebi, Leaf Blade, okay. Doesn't do a whole lot. And Volcarona. Okay. So there's Leaf Blade on this. I could still preserve this and honestly just swap into something else since this is Leaf Blade. Something like a Hydreigon should take this fine. Yeah, I think I can still preserve this, because this can do massive work still later on, so I'll just swap. Write down this is a Leaf Blading Celebi. He may have U-turn on it, which would hurt a little bit. But he does just go for that. But this should be okay. I could just Dark Pulse right away. Yeah, I'll just go for Dark Pulse. Get some damage on this thing or anything else. He has a Keldeo to swap into, to be fair. But the justified boost is not as scary as something like Cobalion, Virizion or Terrakion, unless he's running fully physical Keldeo, but I wouldn't necessarily expect that to be the case. Would be pretty hit to see though, because he does get access to Poison Jab. Okay, he does U-turn. It's gonna hurt a little bit, but it should not be the end of the world, because the Stealth Rocks aren't up for his side. And I have Roost to recover still health. So now I can get up some chip on the Keldeo. This is gonna be still modest. There's still gonna be modest Dark Pulse coming to Hydreigon's side to Keldeo, so it should be still hurting it. And I had my Stealth Rocks up. And then if he uses like a flip turn to utilize momentum, I do also have... Okay, that did... Let me just make... Okay, see... Oh, so it's leftovers. That did about what it was, I guess, supposed to. It could be max HP, I guess. But here I have a pretty safe swap into my Primarina. Now I don't really have to worry about this too much. So Keldeo is leftovers. And it's at like 7... Yeah, it's toxic. He misses, which is unfortunate. So he would have to spend a turn to get that going. That is about like 83%, I would say. Here I'm pretty free to Moonblast. Which I think I'll just do. Because any chip on the Lantern would be good. Because the Lantern is kind of like a slow roadblock for some of my things, like Talonflame and Raikou don't necessarily like it a whole lot. So there's that. Necrozma still has even though my Necrozma has taken a little bit of damage from the Leaf Blade, it still has a really good matchup just to be able to get it in for free and damage something really hard. Because I have Meteor Beam to hit the Volcarona or get myself into +1 special attack. Photo Geyser is pretty free. His only resistance are Celebi and Celesteela. Which Celebi now comes to the field, it has to take Stealth Rocks. And I get my Moonblast off. And I get a special attack drop out knowing the set. He's also leftovers on this. It's good to know, I suppose. I could see him going for a U-turn here. So I could kind of go into what is Landorus's purpose here? It's here to deal with... He could deal with the Dragalsi relatively well. But I think Landorus is actually fine, because then I can get up a big U-turn on this. Have Intimidate to get down its attack. And U-turn should not be doing a whole lot, because I'm resisting it as well. Yeah, there goes the U-turn. And he's only really responds to this to either go into Celesteela, which means I can Gravity EQ versus it, or he just goes into Keldeo to force me out. Yeah, the Celesteela comes in, but this should be fine. Let's see if he have leftovers. But like, I'm almost max BDF. Yeah, this is leftovers, so this is like Leech Seed, what have you. But I don't think I care about that too much. Let's just go for Gravity. So this is also leftovers. A lot of leftovers on their side. Or his side. This would mean that he does currently land the Toxic as he does carry it. But now EQ should be doing good chunk. If the like Celebi comes in, I'm bulky enough to take any one hit from it and just U-turn out. So I don't think I'm gonna overthink this turn. I'm just gonna click the Earthquake. Because the other like neutral play I guess would have been clicking Knockout, but I wanna damage the Celesteela really hard. Not let it like start wearing me down with leads if it's like physically defensive. Yeah. Let's just go for Earthquake. This should be doing good chunk still. As we do. As he goes for Leech Seed. He will be landing this by the way, cause the Gravity does help him as well. It's not just for me to help myself out. But getting that damage on Celesteela is really good. He will be wearing me down a little bit by the Leech Seed plus the Toxic, but it should not be the worst case scenario. Because while I'm taking this damage, the Celesteela has been taking almost basically half. Just go for the Earthquake again. Okay, he's Leech Seed Protect, so he's the full fat Celesteela set. So it's not the setup set I would have to worry about, so Raikou... Yeah, what is Raikou's really purpose here? It's just here to get the Lantern, I guess, on a timer if necessary. I'm getting a little worn down by this Celesteela though. By him having the Protect. Another Earthquake should take him out. So just click it again. If it doesn't take it out, it leads to the point that it's basically dead. Yeah, it does barely live it. As he has Earthquake, so it's just Earthquake as attacking move. Okay. I was kinda hoping I would have like been able to take it out with that Earthquake, but I guess he is fully physically defensive. But that leaves him to the point that honestly my Necrozma can come in next and click Heatwave. And something will die. And the Landers there didn't have like a huge purpose in this game, since he did not bring Diggersby or the Tracker Sword most importantly. So, not their first, my first should be out. There we go. Now we go into Necrozma. And they don't really have... Like, he doesn't really have a good response to this. Like, this thing is now at 25%. As I go for the Heatwave, and I believe the Celesteela should now be dead. Alright, so both of our like first picks are now dead from the get-go, which were both Vepsis though. And thankfully I guess I did have the Gravity, because that meant that that was a guaranteed Heatwave to land. But now the Gravity is back to normal, so accuracies are what they are supposed to be at this point. But that was one of his Moonblast resist that he has, other than like the Volcarona. So Primarina kinda looks annoying for him to deal with. But this Celesteela at full health is also like really obnoxious for him. He goes to the Volcarona. Let me see... At what point of health do I die to this Volcarona? Because to be fair, I'm not sure if I should stay in regardless. I'm at 146 HP. It is a roll to take me out, so I don't believe I should stay in at this point. So just go into Talonflame for now. Because this Necrozma being at high health, that it's right now 72%, it still is able to beat quite a few things 1v1. Like, it can dent the Lantern really hard, it takes out the Keldeo. Celebi I can dent it pretty hard with Heatwave. Dragalsi I dent really hard. Yeah, there comes the Bug Boss, which shouldn't do a whole lot because this is quad resisted. Yeah. I could just U-turn here. Because I don't see him staying in. He has a full health Lantern in the back. Yeah. I'll get the initiative now. As he goes into the Lantern. And we get a little bit of chip on it. What do I want to use? Do I want Hydreigon to come in on this, or no, it's just Necrozma. This is the real one big thing I have to worry about in order for... Yeah, in order for my Talonflame to really go crazy. The only other thing I would have to worry about is fully healthy Dragalsi, but ideally I get some damage on it regardless. Alright, he goes for Volt Switch. Now I'm at 109 with this. So I'm at like 54% of health. But me having Stealth Rocks up means that if he tries to make a double into that Lantern, it has to take the Stealth Rock damage, which I'm perfectly fine with. And he's not really punishing besides attacking moves right now. He doesn't have hazards on my end. He could make a double into Lantern if he wants to, or go into something like Dragalsi, which would be annoying. But at this point, Necrozma is still, even at this point of health, it's still very valuable. Which was surprising, I guess, to me in a way, because I was kind of like using it as a dedicated lead, but based on the 6 he brought, it ended up being like my best breaker right now. As he does make a double. And it's the Dragalsi, okay. Which I think is okay. My most expendable mon would be Raikou actually. He may get up T-Spikes here. he may get up T-spikes, that's the thing. Like, do I make a play that punishes that? Because I don't think Raikou really gets me anywhere. I think I U-turn into Hydreigon. Because I believe Hydreigon should be threatening this out realistically. If it takes the Hydreigon out, it's not the worst case, because then it means that I get the Necrozma in. But this should punish, like, in theory, that as long as he does go for T-spikes and not attack me, this should threatening him out afterwards. Yeah, there's the T-spikes. I kind of figured those would come out. But I don't think with, like, some of my mons that I use mostly for pivoting, they should not be affected by too much. Like, Primarina is Restock, Talonflame is, like, off the ground. Necrozma is here to really break. So there's a lot of, like, passive recovery items, which is, I guess, fair. He goes into the Volcarona. Which is fine, because now I get some damage on this thing. Yeah, we are doing basically half to it, which is good. But again, to Talonflame. Like, once I just get my Necrozma in and click Photo Geyser, essentially, like, I'm in a fine shape. Or even clicking Meteor Beam, like, it becomes pretty free. He does double into Dragalsi, okay. He's trying to force some progress with that, which is, like, fair from his side, but he's also taking the Stealth Rocks, which I'm, like, perfectly fine with. Because I really just need this Talonflame to be the winning condition. Which at this point it kinda is. And now I believe I actually might end up using Raikou as the one that I used to go into. Because I don't need Raikou for anything. Yeah, I don't really need Raikou for anything. Hydreigon has the value that it forces at least this Dragalsi out every time and I click Dark Pulse with it. If he goes for something like a Draco, it would have taken it like pressure. And this might just take me out soon as well. He's probably gonna just try to take me out, so I'm just gonna be clicking Thunderbolt here. If he goes into the Lantern, I'll keep just clicking Thunderbolt. I'm not too concerned about this. He may think I have extra sensory on this. The way I brought it in, but that's not really the case. I'll just click Thunderbolt, because off the chance he stays in, I get at least little damage on it, because the lower this thing is, the better for me. Yeah, she just takes me out. So assuming like this is like max HP, I need to like actually look what... I needed around half health for Braper to take it out. As I'll take my Raikou out. So at this point it's a matter of, do I go into Hydreigon to click Dark Pulse, or do I go into Necrozma to Photo Geyser? I could also Meteor Beam with it. I think we go into Necrozma here. I would have to take this T-Spikes. And here it's a matter of like, does he preserve this Celebi or does he preserve this? I think I'll just Geyser, that's guaranteed damage, and I will take this thing out, which would be important for me. Like, this one is the problem to me, not this Celebi necessary, so I think I'll just attack what is in front of me. As this thing is at like 68%, I guess, I would guess. As he does withdraw, probably Celebi. As I get up another Photo Geyser, which would be in a range of 2-shotting it if I choose to stay in. I have the option just to also predict a Leaf Blade and go into my Talonflame. That then can U-turn freely, which I think I'll do. Keeping this thing to revenge kill the Dragalsi is still valuable for me, so I'll just do that. I think you wanna go for Leaf Blade to take out the Necrozma. Or recover. That's also fair with T-Spikes up. Okay. U-turn should be doing a fair bit of chunk to this. So we just go for that. As he does withdraw. And goes into Lantern. This should be close of dying to this. As it does die. Okay. So I have the option now to choose who I go into. As their Lantern dies. I have option to go into Primarina. Hydreigon and Necrozma would be kind of a sax at this point. So I think I'll take the Primarina as the option to go into. Right now, basically, I just need the Dragalsi to be low. Safely to say around like 45% or so. So then like Talonflame can clean out the pieces. As he goes into Dragalsi. Do I just take this opportunity to take this thing out? Or put it in a range of that? Because I believe then Talonflame cleans out. I think so. He may have speed on it, which would be annoying to find out. But he doesn't, so I get the damage what I need. And I get the special attack drop. That might mean that I live. We'll see. Okay, that's good. Dragalsi is now in a range of Talonflame cleaning out. And I'll just Moonblast again. If he wants to preserve this, so be it. But yeah, Talonflame is right now looking pretty good. I have a lot of mons worn down besides it, so Talonflame kinda has to do it at this point. But because I knew the Keldeo was leftovers, which was important to get the intel early on, which is why the Stealth Rocks were important, he shouldn't have anything in the back that outpaces the Talonflame. And now I believe we just take it out. I think this might be double down. So Dragalsi goes down. Which was their 5th. And my Primarina dies as well. So here. Talonflame should be fine here, right? I would like to think so, at least. Soda Pop the Keldeo. How bulky would you have to be to live this hit? I don't really have a way to, I guess, to find out. If you're max HP, I still should take it out, so just Brave Bird. Everything that is left is just weak to Brave Bird, so ideally we have just enough Brave Birds to go about to kill all this. Let's go, Ernesto. The first thing should be dead. There we go, there goes the Keldeo. That it was their 3rd mon. Here comes the Celebi, which is at 75%. I know it's pretty fast. So I know it kinda have a lot of like bulk in itself. So unless it's like max HP, gets the low roll we would be taking out. Let's go Talonflame, let's get a second kill with you. Come on Talonflame. Let's go Ernesto. Come on buddy. And people doubted Talonflame cannot be useful Pokemon in Draft League. That is too weak to revenge kill things. Well, look at Ernesto now, baby. Killing all the things that are left. And there's the Volcarona. I know your heavy duty boots. So we can go for another nice brave bird. Let's go Ernesto. And we can claim ourselves our first seed in the regular season, which I did not believe I had a chance that I would be able to claim it after the first half of the season, because I was pretty much like after week 4 I was like 2-2. There were teams that were 4-0 at the time, or 3-1 or whatever. So I was like, well, I'll be happy to make playoffs, which I still am. But the fact that I can clinch a #1 seed is just pretty cool. It doesn't matter when it comes to playoffs, you have to just beat in front of you, like seedings. I don't believe it's gonna matter too much, and I did not feel like try to like even attempt to like look at like who would be beneficial, because there's literally no idea based on how the season is done. Because it's instead of differential be the first tiebreaker, it's actually head to head. So if you played that opponent, your same win and losses, it depends on like if you beat that opponent or not, if you're ahead of him or ahead of them in the standings. So there's literally no idea for me to even know if I try to cheese that. So at this point I'll just claim the #1 seed and be happy with it. And that is gonna be our regular season as a whole. Good game to Badass Froslass. Make sure to check him out, of course. Unfortunately this is the last game for him in the Champions of Galar, but this gives him a good time, I suppose, if he doesn't have anything else going on. Enjoy the waiting time for Gen 9. If he has still a draft league going on, which I'm actually not too sure, hopefully he will do well there to close out his Generation 8 in itself. I'll hope that for his sake. But until round 1 of playoffs, which I have literally no idea who they will be, stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching, and I'm gonna be seeing you guys later.